To quote a Bad Religion song, what the world needs now is some answers to our problems. And you're not going to find the answers to our problems from people who think, for example, that climate change is a hoax. They do not have any solutions. They do not have ideas. They should not be listened to by anybody. They should not be covered by any reputable sources in the media. And that's just one example I'll give you. Um, I think one of the big problems with just everywhere, especially the United States, but this is happening everywhere, is that the media seems to have this fascination with giving equal time to nut jobs, to giving equal television time and valuable airwave time to people who are out of their minds, to people who are factually inaccurate, to people who don't know what they're talking about, but we throw them on there anyway because of fair and balanced. And that term to me is just, I've always disliked it because you can present a balanced perspective in the news, but if you're presenting bullshit and you're presenting people who are trying to elevate bullshit to the level of truth, where's the fairness in that? How is that fair to the general public? You're not informing people, you're misinforming, and that is not fair. That is unfair to them, especially to people who aren't experts in whatever field we're talking about. Like RFK Jr. Nobody should listen to him. RFK Jr. should be nothing. He should be nothing but a name. Just some dude from a famous family. Um, Nobody ideally should be giving him any television time whatsoever. And now he's the goddamn Secretary of Health or whatever. Um, we're seeing the consequences of what happens when unqualified people get a lot of airtime. When unqualified people, when incompetent people, and frankly, unintelligent people get a lot of time and a lot of credibility. So, because of this, I have sort of built this echo chamber around myself for certain things, And people like to shame you for having an echo chamber, they'll say that you're excluding ideas from people who might have good ideas. I assure you I'm not, but they say it anyway. Um, when it comes to, like the scientific method, you don't want to live in an echo chamber, right? Or when it comes to like fielding opinions about your favorite things, you don't want to have an echo chamber. But when it comes to certain things like climate change, for example, um, I don't want to listen to people who think it's a hoax. I don't need them at my table because they're not advancing anything positive. They're not progressing. They're regressing. You've got this manosphere full of these men who think that the whole world is being feminized and their power is being taken away from them, and pretty soon they're going to be the minority, trying to scare other men into spreading their word because they are afraid their power is being taken away from them. I don't want these people at my table, okay? I don't want to listen to them because I know that they're full of shit. Because at the end of the day, these men still have all the fucking power, right? And any other group that has historically had all the power in this world, all of these fragile white people in the United States, or well, not just the U.S., but in Europe and all these countries that are heading for fascism, who keep electing fascists, who think that all these people from all these other cultures are going to come, and this is finally going to be the year where multiculturalism kills the white race. It's fascinatingly, stunningly absurd that these people get any sort of time whatsoever. But whatever, I don't want them at my table. I don't want them in my chamber because their ideas suck. We need real ideas to move humanity forward. I don't think I have the intelligence to say that humanity is at a tipping point or anything like that. If you listen to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, sure, we're kind of at a tipping point because of nuclear weapons, and we have a lot of really immature leaders right now. We have a lot of really immature, especially the United States, who you don't know from one day to the next what they're going to decide, what they're going to want to do. But you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be bad. Um, like, will anybody ever trust the United States to elect a competent leader again, by the way? I don't know. The world shouldn't. The United States is a morally repugnant whole, and it always has been, really. But now it's just like they've the mask is completely off, and they just don't care. You know, the United States just does not care anymore. The world thinks we're evil. The world thinks that we're morally repugnant and bankrupt. Well, here we are, mask off. Um, so I think I'm right to be a little bit worried. I can't say for sure that humanity, and I always think it's always just a thought that humanity is kind of doomed, that we don't have very much long as a species the way that we're going, not only with the leaders that we elect, but the policies that we enact towards existential crises like climate change, and the way that we don't do anything about some of these things, like everything that we're facing right now. Um, it just seems like there's a lot of inaction and a lot of regression, not just inaction, but worse regression. So I don't think it's such a bad thing in this day and age to live in an echo chamber with certain ideologies. Certain ideological echo chambers I'm okay with, unapologetically okay with, you know? Because I'm tuning out the voices who bring nothing to the table, and even better, I'm not stressing so much over them, listening to their stupid, pathetic bullshit. And on the other hand, I'm fielding more people who are on the right side of history, people who have the good ideas to lead us forward, not backwards. So when it comes to marginalized groups and when it comes to groups who have never had a seat at the table or have never had any power, who have been constantly dehumanized, I stand with those groups. And I stand against the groups who have gone against them for so long, the aggressors. Because if you stand in the middle, you're standing with the aggressor more often than not. Those are the people I want at my table. I don't want these rich white guys who are always telling me that women and minorities and Muslims and whatever other group is coming for their power. You can all fuck off, right? I don't have time for you. And yeah, that's why I think it's okay to live in an echo chamber sometimes. Have a good day, folks.